dogs loved me. We always had a special bond. But then I go off to college, and they stick me in a big dorm, and what am I going to do? They don't allow dogs, and I'm gone to class all day, so there's no way to have a dog. Well, one day I'm walking around the campus, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes this little pup, and he walks up to me, and he starts walking along beside me. And I say, hey, go home, but he won't leave. And I go, and he goes, and I stop, and he stops. And he's like a little 30-pound husky mix, cutest little dog. But there's no collar. I'm looking around, and I think, hey, he's a stray. And if I leave him here, they're going to pick him up, and they're going to take him to the pound. And then who knows what's going to happen. So I'll try to take him back to the dorm for one night, and then, I'll find something for him to do the next day. So I sneak him up to the dorm room, and my roommate Tom is in there, and he says, what the hell? I said, oh, come on, it's just one night, don't worry, we'll have the dog, and I'll figure out something tomorrow. So the dog comes, and he lays right next to me. He says, oh, this is so nice to have a dog, And I even give him a name. I call him Crypto, Superman's the super dog. Well, this is great, but about a half an hour later, I hear this. And I look down, and it's the dog. And the dog is, and dog barf all over the floor of the room. And as soon as he's done with that, boom, he passes out cold. So now this is getting complicated, and I'm feeling responsible for this dog. So the next day, I find the cheapest vet I can find. This old guy in South Boston, and I take the dog to the vet, and he looks at the dog, and he comes to me and he says, you know what you got here? I said, no. He says, you got yourself a garbage dog. I said, what? What's that? A garbage dog is a dog that goes around all day and eats garbage. That's what he does. That's how he survives. He says it won't kill him, but it won't do him any good. So I take the dog home, and amazingly, I'm able to sneak this dog into my dorm for months. But look, I'm not the most responsible guy. I'm a freshman in college. And every now and then the dog gets loose and he runs off. And I figure, oh, that's it. I'm never going to see Crypto again. But amazingly, he always comes back. And we get him back up into the room. And a half an hour later, what do you think? And then, of course, he passes out. Well, Tom and I, my roommate, we decided we'd go visit my family. We live about an hour outside of Boston, and because this is the 70s, you can hitchhike wherever you go. So we said, I'm going to go, Tom's going to go, and we're going to take Crypto. We're going to hitchhike. So we go out to the road, and we're standing there forever because, who's going to pick us up? And then we start to get hungry. And we see a little deli nearby, and we say, okay, we're going to go get something to eat. So we go over there, we get these Italian subs, we come back to the road, we start eating them, and so it's got grilled onions in the sub. Who puts grilled onions in a sub? And before I can think about it, we take these onions and we throw them on the ground. I said, no. But too late, the garbage dog goes in and he eats all the grilled onions in one bite. Well, sure enough, 15 minutes later, here comes a guy in an MGB Sportster, little tiny sports car. And he stops, and I say, hey, it's got a tiny little back seat. I say, hey, we got the dog. He says, don't worry. You and the pup, you get in the back, you squeeze in there, and your friend will get in the front. So, okay. So we go off on the road, and I'm looking at the dog, and the dog's like, okay. Sure enough, about 10 minutes into the ride, this car is beautiful. It's got red leather seats. It's been all restored. Anyway, Tom turns around when he hears that, and I'm going, so Tom starts talking to the guy really loud to cover the noise. Hair comes all over me, all over the back seat. And it's grilled onions. So I take my baseball hat off, and I'm trying to scoop up the stuff in my hat and shove it out the little window in the back. It's the best I can do. So we get to where we're going. Guy pulls over, the dog's like half conscious. I pull him out of the car, and we wave goodbye to the car. And he said, I looked in the back before I left, and like, you could, if you look quickly, you couldn't really tell, but there's stuff in all the cracks. Anyway, the guy drives off, and we're waving him goodbye. And, that's the price you pay when you pick up a garbage dog. Anyway, Crypto finally did run off, and I never saw him again. It kind of broke my heart. But, he was the sweetest garbage dog I ever knew.